Good morning. Thanks for joining us today. No question, it's a great day for the University of Kansas broadly. I didn't say Kansas women's basketball on purpose because this type of a day and this type of extension and reaffirmation of Brandon as our head women's basketball coach and reaffirmation of our commitment to Kansas women's basketball is really a great thing for the entire university, certainly for the athletic department. And what this group has achieved this year and the way in which they've achieved it has made a significant impact on all of Kansas athletics and again on the entire university and our support base out there. So it's really a great day for the entire broader University of Kansas community, and couldn't be more excited about the opportunity to re-solidify Brandon and his great staff at the helm of this program. And can't say enough about what they've done and how they've gone about it, the kind of character development, off-court development, the commitment they have to the young women in this program, and of course, the X's and O's and the literal basketball development and growth that's occurred with this team and with the individuals has been profound. I think it's one of the great stories in college basketball, men or women, this season, and that's obviously in large part why we are so excited to extend the Big 12 Coach of the Year, Brandon Schneider.
Go ahead and we'll open up for questions.
Hey, Brandon, I know this week you got Big 12 Coach of the Year. Today, this extension gets announced. What have the emotions been like for you these last few days?
Obviously, I'm really grateful and appreciative of the confidence, demonstrated by our administration, Travis, Nicole, the chancellor, in the direction and the trajectory of our program. Extremely grateful for the group of young women and the coaching staff that I get to be a part of and work with every day.
Does it take a weight off your shoulders to enter respect here heading into postseason play, knowing that this is final and out of the way?
I don't know that there was ever really a weight on our shoulders. I think that we've always tried to do what was best for Kansas women's basketball in any decisions, that we made and how we operated. I think where this helps as much as anywhere is probably in our recruiting efforts.
Coach, it was recently named that your father was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And now, 2-3 weeks later, you're setting your own legacy with a great group of girls. How does it make you feel to be finally, on that trajectory to hopefully be in the same Hall of Fame?
I'm just really happy, for my dad. And he's invested so much in women's basketball. I consider him to be one of the pioneers, and for him to be recognized and to still be with us and have the opportunity to have that experience this June is really cool.
And also last year, you guys were able to hire a couple of new assistant coaches. How do you think that's played into this season?
It's made a big impact. I'm very grateful for Terry and Karila and Morgan, as well as the rest of our staff. I think the synergy, in our office is as good as it's ever been.
Guys, for both of you, I'm curious when negotiations on this had began and when you thought it was probably something that you both wanted to pursue and execute here.
Yeah, for me, coming in the spring and just really feeling great about the opportunity to objectively watch, get to know, and connect with all of our programs, with all of our head coaches. It was no different with women's basketball and Brandon. It was really, for me, just a chance to get to know him and the program to the best of my ability in the off season prior to the start of the season. And then, of course, once season got underway, it was trying to be as immersed as I possibly could be, again, with Brandon, with his great staff, trying to hit a couple road games, be here at home, get to some practices, be around the young women in the program. And that's all part of just that, having a really good understanding about where we're at. And then, of course, the success that has come with it over the course of the year. In my evaluation, not just blips on the radar. You're seeing real profound development and growth with this program and with the young women in the program. And so it was just a natural journey. And I think the first time we had a real substantial conversation around the depth or the meat of an extension was last week. And I can say, even though that was the first time we had that particular in-depth conversation, that he and I were very well in alignment coming into the season, and similarly as we had gone through the course of the year. And so natural from the first conversation of real depth last week into obviously getting to this great point today.
Brandon, what would you say is the biggest reason for the success of this team at this point? Is it been built up to this, or is this just a special group clicking together?
Well, I think it's a special group, but I also think that there has been some buildup. I reflect back to 2019-20 season. We had a winning record, and we were going to participate in the WNIT tournament, and COVID obviously derailed postseason for everyone. So I felt like we had some momentum following that season. And then, last year was extremely disruptive. COVID impacted our program significantly with multiple shutdowns, if you will, and quarantines. And we had 4 seniors who opted out mid-year. So that maybe took us off path a little bit, but it didn't, I guess, dissuade us from the confidence that was growing. And when we got everybody together in August, we just had a really good vibe about what this team could accomplish.
Travis, what are the next steps for this program, and how do you plan on laying a foundation to continue his trajectory?
Well, I think the great observation and awareness around taking next steps, arguably maybe the most important aspect of that is the recognition that it's never a head coach or a staff's responsibility, alone, so to speak, or in a vacuum to take that next step. It really does require an institutional commitment. It requires a comprehensive administrative commitment from myself, certainly from Nicole, our sport administrator with women's basketball, from all the support staff. And so I think this gives us a chance to really add another layer to that. What does it mean to be fully committed to women's basketball at the University of Kansas in the highly competitive Big 12, in a highly competitive national landscape? I'm excited about that. And only haven't had, less than a year under my belt. I think that's what I know I expect of myself, and I expect of our entire administration and staff to demonstrate the commitment to that. We're in a pretty ever-changing, evolving landscape, right? So you talk about roster management. What roster management looked like a couple years ago is quite different today. When you think about transfer portal, you think about how Brandon's navigated high school, transfer portal, international. I think it's a great moment for him and the staff and us collectively to determine what the next chapter looks like in that aspect. And I think as Brandon said early on, this extension really provides and affords them a great opportunity to go out there from a recruiting perspective in all of those manners. And certainly when you think about high school and domestic, to go and make a real impact.
This is a question for both of you guys. What has stood out the most to you so far this season?
Oh, with our team, I would say our balance. We don't have an MVP candidate, type of player, a first team All-American, a first round draft pick that we're trying to play through each and every possession down the floor. I think we have great balance. And I think for our team to be successful, we have to be very connected, both offensively and defensively, and understand that if we play in that manner, we can compete with anybody in the country.
Yeah. For me, as I look back and think about maybe the first practice I was at back in October to this stage in the season, what stood out to me is that every single one of the women on this team has improved individually. And I think in a lot of cases, real rapid, significant improvement. And then you see, of course, the benefit and the impact of that collectively as a team. But what stood out to me is that individual improvement. And of course, a huge credit to Brandon and his staff in being able to do so.
Brandon, what have you said to the women about the tournament expectations, what they can achieve here? The 20 wins are great, but now here's a chance to do something in postseason at your conference tournament.
Well, I think one of the reasons we've had some success is our approach of really taking one game at a time and being really locked in and with the preparation of that particular opponent. You know, we play a great game where very, very few times are your preparations the same back to back. And, you know, we play so many different styles in the Big 12. I think we have to remain really focused on the mentality of one game at a time, one preparation at a time. And should we have success, enjoy it, celebrate it, and then move on to the next one.
So you've told them just to look at the first game?
Yes. I don't think you get to play a second game unless you have a successful first game. And I think that, you know, we try not to get out over our skis. I think it's very important that our focus is on Oklahoma. And should we play well enough to advance, then we'll shift our focus to whoever the next opponent might be.
Is there a different feeling though when you're in the postseason? Everybody talks about things being faster, the adrenaline being stronger. Even if you are just focused on the opponent, there's a lot of atmosphere.
No question, you have to manage. You have to play with emotion without being emotional, and that's something that you know, I think our players have done a pretty good job of. But absolutely, the excitement, the attention, you know, what's at stake every time you take the floor, much greater for sure.
Are there any additional questions for Travis from anyone? All right, hearing none, we'll let him go and let Coach talk about the tournament.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your coverage and support.
I guess Karen, Brandon, you've had a couple of these turnarounds this season with the Oklahoma State back-to-back, West Virginia twice in 7 days. You get Oklahoma twice in 6 days, I guess. What can the experience of those two previous back-to-backs help you this time out?
You know, we talked about that yesterday, and I do think that it's advantageous to be able to reflect back when you've had some of those situations. You know, we won't change a lot, but I do think it's important to evaluate the film, you know, with the players and take away things we felt like we maybe could have done better, and then continue to try to place a great deal of importance on the things that we did well.
You consider it maybe a little bit easier this time too, because you have that practice and film session in between games, whereas you didn't necessarily have that available for Oklahoma State?
You know, I don't know that anything's easy or easier in the Big 12, especially when you're facing an opponent the caliber of Oklahoma. They've had an incredible season and have you know, two of the best players in our league, and I think what's made them really special is, you know, how the complementary players have impacted, you know, Robertson and Maddie Williams, and you know, they're extremely hard to play against.
Hey, Brandon, any surprise at all that Tiana didn't get Defensive Player of the Year in the Big 12?
I don't know that I would. I guess the best way maybe to phrase it is I have a lot of respect for Donarski who won the award. Would I have liked it to have been a co-award? Yes.
Any more questions, Coach?
Thank you.